Hey boyos, this is a response video to the thread that LA Hipster 1 made about me. I'm a little out of breath, I just had a couple smokes and I ate too much McDonald's. You know, fat fuck problems. Um, Said he figured out the number one thing I need to improve my life, and that's a sense of urgency. Well, I have that sense of urgency because I have my goals. I'm eager for them to fulfill themselves, and they will in time. But I'm responding to the comments. So, we have Orson Welles saying he needs to further hit rock bottom to create that urgency. Well, I never will further hit rock bottom. My life is actually on the up and up. I know a lot of you will say, how is it on the up and up? You have nothing going for you. You have nothing going on. Well, there's always more things you can lose. Okay? I've been in a much worse position where I was living on the street, had no income, um, needed open heart surgery. So I've been in worse positions. So I'm not gonna further hit rock bottom, right? I'm on the up and up. I'm slowly making headway. I'm making my life better. There's some glaringly obvious things that need to change, like my weight problem, quit smoking, get in housing, stuff like that. So moving on. Godfred, he says, John V needs a savage ass beating. His sister needs to snort some coke and pin some tren and go ape shit on him. She needs to beat him until he can't take it anymore, and then she needs to continue to beat him some more. She needs to beat the dog shit out of him, at which point he can either die of that beating or get his life in order. TLDR, I don't even know what that means. John V's sister needs to beat the retard out of him. Well, I thank you for your input, but my sister is not going to lay a beating on me. Um, she appreciates the $400 a month she gets from me in rent money. I'm no trouble at all. I just have a messy room. Aside from that, aside from making a mess of the room that I'm in and the deck where I smoke, that's it. I don't really make a mess of the bathroom, right? And I don't really make a mess of the kitchen. Other people do that. So I appreciate your insight. I appreciate your opinion, but she's not going to lay a beating on me, and I don't think she needs to. I don't think anybody needs to lay a beating on me for me to change anything. I think my life is going pretty good in most ways, not all every way, but most ways. So I appreciate your insight, Godfred, but what you're saying doesn't make any sense. And Pyram Param says, in response to what Godfred just said, that's the African American in you talking again. I think John V's got one foot in the grave, another on a banana peel. Only thing that could save him is a woman. A woman's touch fixes a lot. Super dead fucking serious. Yeah, you're completely right. Almost 100%. Almost. I don't think I have one foot in the grave. I don't think I'm the healthiest person in the world, obviously, but since I had surgery, I'm doing much better for myself. And all things considered, with my age, my weight, some of my bad habits like eating junk food and smoking, I'm relatively healthy. So it's not that bad. Um, but yeah, having a woman in my life would be a big deal. It's not something I'm looking for unless it happens accidentally. It's not going to happen because I'm not on the hunt for a woman, and I will not be for any time soon until I get in housing and or lose all this fucking weight. So, thank you for standing up for me or half standing up for me. I appreciate it. And moving on, Big Guy for You says, I felt bad for him at first because he's disabled and have a soft spot for people with disabilities. Oh, well, isn't that nice? But it's clear he's just a fat sack of shit and feels no shame spending taxpayer money on cigarettes of all things. Almost 1K of taxpayer money wasted on that. Countless people here are really nice to him, have been really encouraging, and have suggested numerous things to get a life, get on track to get in shape and lose weight and be healthy. But he would rather eat 2 pounds of macaroni and smoke a pack of cigs for dinner and not listen to anyone ever. Guy is a lost cause. I don't know why people bother entertaining him anymore. Well, I appreciate the comment, somewhat. Um, you're jealous of me, right? Saying that, you felt bad for me. That can often turn into jealousy really quickly because you're saying that I'm different than other people. I'm no different than anybody else. I'm no more privileged or less privileged than any other person. So you're just jealous of me. You're upset because I have all the time in the world to sit around, do what I want to do with my life. I have money, I can buy cigarettes, and, you know, you're just jealous of me. I am no different than anyone else. I am no more or less privileged. Okay? Because when you say you feel bad for me, that can turn into jealousy really easily, and it did in your case. So, I appreciate the comment, but moving on. And LA Hipster 1, the maker of the thread, um, cheers to you. He responds to Godfred's previous comment and says, how will that help if he doesn't feel like he has to improve his life? You just want to see John get beaten and humiliated. Well, boyo, Godfred just likes talking shit, right? He's just an African American, like the other poster said. And yeah, a savage beating is not going to improve my life. I have been savagely beat before by somebody, and it didn't do fuck all. It made me more respectful of people and more careful of what I say. So it's not. It didn't exactly not do anything, but it did teach me a lesson, right? And as for my sister Lena beating on me, that's not gonna do anything. So yeah, Godfrey just wants me to get beaten and humiliated. He's mostly just talking shit. I don't think Godfrey actually bears me any ill will at all. So moving on, Godfred824, he responds to the two previous comments in reply to his original comment. And he replies to LA Hipster 1 and says, well, when his sister is done with his first beating and tells him that within a week he will either have to have a pay stub in hand or a shattered orbital socket, he will instantly gain all the urgency in the world. Um, I don't think so. I'm content with my life. I know I'm not doing anything wrong. Well, I am technically doing things wrong, but um, just in like a law sense, right? Because of like buying illegal cigarettes, possibly. But you know, that's not going to change anything, Godfred. You're just talking shit. So moving on, and he responds to Pyram's post and says, "You're right. His sister is that woman. She needs to apply a brutal beating on him to fix him right up." No, I don't think so. And the women I was with were not violent types at all. They were not large women except for one of them. And even then, she wasn't that large. She was just fat. So I appreciate the comments, Godfred, but you're just talking shit. I don't believe you have any ill will for me. And Gordon XXX says, bring back the fucking chain gangs. Who agrees with me? Well, old man, you would be thinking like it's the 1700s because that's about when you were born, right? And I don't mean that you have all the wisdom as well that comes with that age. Um, you're not very well liked on this forum, but that's besides the point. I don't want to give you shit or hate. Um, but yeah, luckily for me, things aren't like they were in medieval times. People generally become more sophisticated over time. Society gets better over time rather than worse, and it has to, right? Because if it didn't, we would just slowly decay into nothingness, and the human race would die out. So, luckily for us, it's not the way you want it to be, Gordon. No hate on you. You're an old man. I respect you because you're an old man, but you know, you could be a little wiser, but it's the misc, so I let it slide. You're just talking shit, just like a lot of the people on here. So moving on, LA Hipster 1 responds to Godfred's comment and says, you have a point about the sister. I feel she could help John drive change, but it might wreck their relationship forever. You can't push John. Remember, he has a condition. Violence is never the answer. Why would you beat somebody already at the bottom? While I'm not exactly at the bottom, there's always farther you can fall. I'm not doing bad for myself. Literally, if I was in shape, people would completely turn around and worship me, right? It's the fact that I'm fat and ugly that people on the mist give me shit. That's all it is. That's all it is. Um, but yeah, yeah, you can't push John. He has a condition. Well, schizophrenia. It doesn't affect me too much. I keep a low stress lifestyle, so it largely unaffects me. So, moving on. Pat 2022 SBWIN says, in response to Godfred's comment, did we ever get pics of John V's sister? If not, why doesn't the miscount him for them? I have posted pictures of all my immediate family members in the past. I will do that again if that is what you like. Um, I did post pics of the sister that I live with. So, um, yeah, I will do it again after this video and after I've recovered from my big meal from McDonald's. I know that'll drive the trolls mad hearing that. It wasn't a big meal, it was literally just two junior chickens, and that's it, right? So nothing crazy, but I didn't sit very well. I feel kind of sick. I usually do feel sick after eating McDonald's, and McDonald's is the worst. One of the worst places for making me feel ill after I eat at it. So, moving on. Monster Ultra says people generally don't turn things around. The people who do well later in life tend to be those who had drive and motivation early on to begin with, just were down on their luck. That is true. Most people who actually succeed in life, fresh out of high school, they have a plan and they start putting that plan in motion and very quickly gain all the things that they wanted, like a wife, children, a car, a house, a career. So, right? Some people are late bloomers, but generally, I have known many people that fresh out of high school, they had a plan and they very quickly gained all the things they wanted. So, moving on. And Godfred says in reply to LA Hipster 1, it's what he needs, and ass woman is what John V craves. Okay, I'm getting tired of the whole beating from coming from Godfred. Right, I get it. You're black. You're a lot bigger than me. I understand. Point taken. So moving on, Godfred also says in reply to Pat's previous comment about the pictures of my sister, we did not, but no matter. We need to send her to Dagestan for 2 years. Um, you did get pictures of my sister, and I will post them again, Godfred. So, moving on. Big League Bra, aka the bitch, he says the only thing that would help John V is his sister kicking him out. Unfortunately for both of them, that sounds like it won't happen. Um, she will never kick me out. Um, so, that aside, if I did get kicked out, it would be bittersweet because I would get less money from the government, obviously, because I wouldn't be renting somewhere. Um, but it would be kind of sweet in the fact that I could go to a homeless shelter in the city and they would expedite the process of getting me into housing because it's considered an emergency situation. So I could be looking at 1 to 2 years and being in my own place if my sister did kick me out. So yeah, it would be bittersweet. I could still get cigarettes. I could just have them ordered and sent to my mother's place and go there every once in a while to pick the cigarettes up. So, moving on. Gordon, in reply to Monster Ultra's comment, he says, how old is he? 42? He's not turning anything around. He's enabled by the Canadian government and his sister. Fat bastard is only like 14 years younger than me. um, I am finally at starting at 40, started to turn my life around. Finally. I'm a bit of a late bloomer. I will never excel 100% in life because I'm a late bloomer, but 10 years from now, I will be doing much better than I am doing now. I already see it. Um, but yeah, congratulations, Gordon. You're older than me. You're an old man. You're 14 years older than me. You're practically a senior citizen now. 2 more years, and you can be in senior housing. I'm a little jealous. I wish I was getting into housing. And Mr. 83 says, Big John V is a stoic, a cynic, a cig smoking prophet of our times. You people are just too blind to see it. Well, Boyle, let's not get too carried away. I'm not anything special, but, I do believe in stoicism. Um, I am a bit cynical, very cynical. Um, I am a cigarette smoker. I don't think I'm a prophet. You know, my mental illness doesn't cause me to think I'm Jesus usually. Sometimes it does. So, thanks for standing up for me, boyo. And moving on, Pyram Param says in reply to LA Hipster One's comment, Goonfather is right, Frid. You can't push Johnny. John needs a friend who gets him out of the house, catch some rays, and play badminton or cricket. I have no interest in badminton or cricket, right? I'm not all about active sports or activities, obviously. I believe that doing any kind of exercise should be for the sole purpose of losing weight or maintaining fitness. I don't do exercise activities for fun, right? Unless it's strength training, but that's still for health and fitness. But that's right, you can't push me. I'm a very stubborn person, very bullheaded. You can't tell me anything. You can't push me at all, right? I make my own way, I make my own path, and I have to learn things the hard way. And I know the trolls will go crazy with that comment. But moving on, Pyram Param again states in response to Godfred's comment, shame on you for wishing violence upon John. Ooga booga ass nig. Yeah. Thanks, Pyram Param. Godfred is just a pain in the ass. He just talking shit, right? Like previous commenter said, it's just the African American in him coming out. So moving on, LA Hipster One says in response to Pyram Param's comment, yep, John has talked a lot about wanting a girlfriend. I think this could be a motivator as well, but I think he needs to improve his living situation first. But I don't think he should wait for housing. It takes too long. Again, we need to add urgency somehow. And I'll note LA Hipster One is the creator of this thread. I do feel a little sense of urgency. The next step is to find a casual job. Because with a casual job, because I'm a disabled person, even 5 or 6 hours a week working, the government will give me substantially more money just for having a casual job as a disabled person. So that is the next step, is to find a casual job. So I have my goals, right? I am doing things in an orderly fashion. I'm taking my time, but I am making sure that I meet these goals eventually. So if 2 months from now I still don't have a casual job, it's fine, right? If 3 months from now I don't have a casual job, it's still fine. But eventually, I would like to have a casual job, and once I have it, goal achieved, and it's headway in life. So, moving on, Jughead96 says, in response to Pyram Param, whoa, whoa, buddy, you're all over the place, respect the God. Calling me God? Or Godfred? Not sure what you mean, but overall, it's not a negative comment, so I appreciate the comment, Jughead. And moving on, Zerone says, that's the problem with government assistance programs that are too Gucci. They don't create a sense of urgency to stop being a lazy piece of shit. Well, that is true. Stagnation generally does breed more stagnation and laziness. It's a downward spiral when you get into the neat lifestyle. Generally, when people have a job and they're active at their job, they want to be active away from their job too. Generally. That's not always the case. I've known fat, lazy fucks who had jobs, right? And they were fat, lazy fucks at their job too. So, in my case, if I have a full-time job, I want to be active away from my job too. I want to exercise and work out away from work. So, not exactly a negative comment, not exactly a positive comment, but thank you for the comment. Moving on. Godfred says in response to Gordon's comment, he may be 42, but he eats like 2 to 4 people. Not quite. I would be a lot fatter than I am now if I ate that much. Um, right now, I'm not eating more than a normal person, but once you're fat, you're fat, and it takes work and effort to get rid of the fat. You already know that as someone who is heavier than me, Godfred. So you're just talking shit. I get it. You're just talking shit. You like me, right? I understand. So moving on, Gordon says in response to Zerone's comment, the problem is the government gives cash, should be whole food and rent vouchers only, no money for ciggies and booze and games and junk. Vouchers only and require work on a chain gang picking up trash 40 hours a week if you want to eat. Again, you think like it's the 1700s or 1800s where people are primitive and not sophisticated at all. You got to keep up with the times. You think like an old man. You think like some wrinkled old man who's very ignorant, who's very set in his ways, who's living in the past from when you yourself was like a 16-year-old kid, right? And the thing is, I'm disabled. I get money for being disabled from the government. My tax dollars paid for the programs I am now taking advantage of. So, I'm not doing anything wrong. So, case dismissed. Moving on, Pyram Param says, in response to Jughead, just saying it how it is, Maine. Appreciate the comment. It wasn't negative. And Bonobo says, who cares? I assume he means in response to LA Hipster 1 making the thread. Well, LA Hipster 1's just making conversation. He's posting a thread. He's keeping the forum alive. So I do care that he made the thread, right? And it's putting my name out there, so it makes me more notorious and well known, right? I'm all about more fame or infamy. So, moving on. And blah, 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 blah. I think that's about it. So, I will be uploading this video and posting it in this thread. Possibly make a new thread with the video. So, thank you for listening, boyos. Peace out and see you online.